Hey, what's up guys? It's 412 Sports Cards here today, back with another video, and today I'm going to be going over how to be intentional about your selling in the sports card market, giving you guys 3 tips on how to stay disciplined with your investments and your investment selling strategy. So, as the season approaches and prices rise, we all know it. It's easy to get swept up in the hype. There could be pressure to buy and prospect, the pressure to sell on the preseason hype, and lock in profits before the season starts, but it doesn't matter what the pressures are. You need to find a way to remain true to your own investment strategies, and today I'm going to give you guys some tips on the best way to find out and stay true to the right time to sell your sports cards. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Tip 1. When you're buying cards, you need to have a timeline in mind. Every single time you buy a card, you should be thinking, for a rough example, how long do I intend to be holding this card? We'll start with an example here. I bought some Trae Young Selects. So I was thinking with these, I would probably flip them this year. So sometime during the season. It can be as rough as that. Sometime during the season, I want to flip this card. That's easy, right? That's really easy to... It doesn't have to be like, and I'm going to sell that card in February and in the second half of February. No, it doesn't have to be something ridiculous like that. And your opinions can change, right? Like, say Trae went out there, got injured, and I still believed in him and I didn't want to sell at the low injury prices. I could definitely hold and change my investment horizon. All that matters is that you're constantly thinking about it. It helps you, something to reflect on when it comes time to sell. But point 2 is before selling a card, you need to reflect on your entire investment thesis in it. So an example, when I buy really cheap prospects, I often like to sell them into preseason hype. That's just the way I run. And then with higher end, more seasoned prospects like Luka, Trae, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Zion, I like to hold them into the season because I expect them to put up some good numbers that can further continue the price growth. So right now I've been in a little bit of a selling binge, right? I've been trying to unload a bunch of random Prism rookies I've had top loaded sitting in my boxes. Well, I've been doing that, but in an effort to raise even more money to help me track down some cards that I wanted to get, I thought about selling this Luka. So this here is a select rookie Luka. It's the premier level, so it's the between the concourse and the courtside. So medium rarity, 10 per box you get of these. Courtsides you get 2, and the base is the rest of the box. But it isn't my favorite card. I don't really like the design as much as I like the concourse. And it's gone up a little since I bought it. But my investment thesis on it hasn't run its course, right? So the premier level, my thesis was that the premier level is a lot rarer than the concourse. I would say probably... we'll say a quarter of the pop. That's a pretty reasonable. There are about a quarter of them made compared to the concourse. So it's a lot scarcer, but they don't go for that much more. The concourse or the courtside is much rarer. It's 5 times as rare even as these. So it has garnered a little bit more respect. But I haven't seen the appreciation in the premier level over the concourse, and that was my investment thesis. And I also feel like Luka could put up big numbers early in the season that could push this card to some heights that hasn't been achieved yet, and that was part of my original investment thesis. So I haven't checked really either of the boxes on my investment thesis on this card. And while it was tempting to just get out of it so I could immediately run and buy some other cards that I hadn't taken, some cards I saw in the market, I hadn't spent nearly as much time reflecting on my investment thesis, why I wanted them. I just wanted them. Hadn't spent the time on it. This one, I'd spent the time on it. I knew what I expected, and I think it was a reasonable expectation. And with that in mind, I decided to hold this, and it was not the right time to sell. So before I get into the third card here, just a friendly reminder, if you're enjoying my content, please just drop a like down below. Hit the subscribe button. There should be a button like right here for you guys. So if you like the content, please do it. It really helps me out and it makes me excited, and I really appreciate it. So thank you if you do. And thank you just for watching, even if you don't want to like or sub. But anyways, point 3, tip 3. Before selling, ask yourself if you have a better use for the money. And this is where the story of my Ja Morant courtside comes in. By the way, this Luka and this Ja, both just things that I've been thinking through this week. So this is just kind of authentic tales from my sports card journey. So it kind of ties into the last. So the tip before this was, did your investment thesis run its course? And for this one, the answer was pretty much, yeah. My thesis with this wasn't so much a Ja thesis as it was a select courtside thesis. That the courtside would start to show some growth and outpace something like a Prism base, for example, that had been doing very well before, because these courtsides are incredibly rare. And because of the rarity, I thought we might see a little bit more price growth with them. And I was thinking that I could get some returns off it that way. And it's happened. While the Prisms have lost a little value since July when I bought this, card's up about 60%. That's really good, right? And the thesis ran its course. It wasn't so much a time one as it was more of a market thesis. But when I looked at the broader Prism market, I looked at Zion, I looked at Trey, I looked at Luka, and I saw their Prisms starting to rebound hard. Positive swings off the lows big time. Ja has not seen anywhere near that type of preseason bump. And it made me think that Ja was currently undervalued compared to the peers. I think that the base Prism is a good place to look, by the way, also, just for judging how a player is being thought of in the market right now, where their prices are at. It's an easy place because they sell so much. Even if I don't like to buy base Prism PSA 10s, I like to look at them in that way. Sorry if it gets a little loud here, snowplow coming by. But with this said, I didn't see a better place to be putting my money at the current time in the card market than in Ja Morant, than in a nice higher end piece like this courtside. And with that in mind, even though my investment thesis ran its course, I didn't want to sell yet because I didn't have a better place in mind to put the money. That's huge, guys. You don't want to sell if you don't have a plan for the money. Big deal, because that's how you end up with regret. If I sold this and then it's just going to go sit in my bank account while Ja starting his season, and has the chance to see some gains, that would be stupid. Especially since I believe that his prices are currently low and should go up a little more in the future. So have plans for your cards if you're going to sell them. So these are just two stories from my week in cards. The real stories of what I'm going through in the hobby, and I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, drop a like, a sub, a comment if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.